When I got my first real paycheck, I did exactly what everyone around me did. I celebrated. I upgraded my phone, bought nicer clothes, started eating out without checking prices. Nothing crazy, just normal. But a few months later, I remember sitting in my car, refreshing my bank app, thinking, how am I still broke? I had a steady job. I wasn't reckless. I wasn't dumb. Yet somehow the money was gone again. And that's when it hit me. I wasn't bad with money. I was just doing exactly what I was taught. No one ever sat me down and explained how money actually works. What I learned came from watching the people around me. I watched family stress over bills every month. I watched friends swipe credit cards like it didn't count as real money. I watched coworkers celebrate raises by immediately locking themselves into bigger payments. And at the time, none of it felt wrong. It felt responsible. It felt grown up. It felt like adulthood. So I copied it, because when everyone around you lives the same way, it feels normal. But normal is dangerous. Normal is being 35 years old with no savings. Normal is making decent money and still feeling broke. Normal is wondering how everyone else is surviving while quietly drowning yourself. Most people don't struggle with money because they're lazy or irresponsible. They struggle because money habits are copied, not taught. You didn't wake up one day and decide to struggle financially. You absorbed it. You absorbed the idea that debt is normal, that car payments are unavoidable, that investing is complicated and risky, that saving can wait. And the scary part is how early this starts. We learn it before we ever earn money. We hear things like, that's just how bills are, or everyone has payments, or must be nice whenever someone does well. So by the time you're earning your own income, your brain already has a script. Spend it, enjoy it, worry about later. So your brain says, this must be how life works. But that's not life, that's survival mode. And survival mode keeps you stressed, anxious, and stuck. Here's something nobody tells you. Broke behavior has nothing to do with income. I've seen people making $40,000 who are disciplined, calm, and slowly building wealth. And I've seen people making $200,000 who are one emergency away from panic. Same stress, different numbers. Because broke behavior shows up in patterns. It looks like spending money emotionally. It looks like rewarding yourself every time life gets hard. It looks like using money to cope with stress instead of solving the problem. You had a rough week, so you deserve to spend. You're bored, so you shop. You're tired, so you eat out. You're unhappy, so you upgrade something. And none of this feels reckless in the moment. It feels justified. It feels earned. It feels harmless. Until you look up and realize years went by and nothing changed. That's not a money problem. That's emotional conditioning. And it's everywhere. Social media makes it worse. You see vacations, new cars, luxury apartments, and perfect lives, but you don't see the debt, the stress, or the empty accounts behind it. You don't see the arguments. You don't see the anxiety. You don't see the "I hope nothing goes wrong" moments. So you feel behind. And when people feel behind, they spend. That's the cycle. What makes this hard to break isn't the math, it's the identity shift. To change your money habits, you have to accept that the way you've been living doesn't work. You have to accept that some of the advice you grew up hearing was wrong, and that's uncomfortable because it feels like rejecting your environment. It feels like questioning people you love. It feels like going against what everyone else is doing. So instead, people defend the habits. They say you need to live a little. They say you could die tomorrow. They say money isn't everything. And they're right. But money controls your stress, your options, and your future. And pretending otherwise is expensive. Here's the part nobody likes hearing. Wealthy behavior looks boring. It looks like driving the same car while everyone else upgrades. It looks like staying in the same apartment after a raise. It looks like saying no to trips you can afford but don't need. It looks like investing quietly while others flex loudly. And boring is uncomfortable in a world addicted to stimulation. but boring compounds. No one claps for consistency. No one notices discipline. No one celebrates patience until years later when the results show up. Here's a hard truth. If you're waiting to make more money before you get serious, you're already behind. More money doesn't fix bad habits, it exposes them. If spending feels good now, it'll feel even better later. If saving feels painful now, it'll feel even more painful with more income. That's why people who win with money start early, even with small amounts. Consistency beats intensity. Putting away a few $100s every month won't feel life-changing today, but 20 years from now, it changes everything. And the scary part is, most people never start because it doesn't feel urgent until it is. The real shift happens when you stop trying to look successful and start trying to feel secure. Security feels boring. Freedom feels quiet. But freedom lets you breathe. Freedom is walking away from jobs you hate. Freedom is handling emergencies without panic. Freedom is knowing your future isn't dependent on one paycheck. That's what wealth actually buys you. If you want to break the cycle, start small, but start intentional. Automate your investing so you don't rely on motivation. Freeze your lifestyle even when your income grows. Buy assets before luxuries. Track your net worth so progress becomes visible. Stop comparing yourself to people who look rich but feel trapped. This path will feel lonely. You'll feel out of sync with your peers. You'll feel like you're missing out sometimes. That's normal because you're doing something uncommon. You don't need to win fast. You need to win quietly. You're not bad with money. You were just copying behavior that never worked. And the moment you stop doing what's normal, you start building something rare. If this video hit a little too close to home, that's not an accident. It means you're starting to see the patterns most people never question. And that's exactly what this channel is about. On Tom Invest, we break down money in a way that actually makes sense. No hype, no get-rich-quick nonsense, just the boring habits that quietly build real freedom. So if you want to stop copying broke behavior, start thinking differently about money and build wealth the slow, proven way, hit the subscribe button, because the goal isn't to look rich, it's to be free. And that's what we build here.